Hi guys, it's Anna from Babble Dabble doing Camp STEAM. Welcome back. So today I want to talk to you guys about some top tips for keeping your camp successful this summer. So if you are going to be running a backyard camp with your kids and friends, family, we want you to have a great time. We want it to be a really successful adventure for everyone involved. And so part of what we're bringing you with Camp STEAM, in addition to the project guide, is a success guide. And it's going to be full of tips and strategies and ideas for planning, for keeping kids interested in projects, for dealing with different age groups, for cleaning up the mess. We all know that's a top topic for everybody. And so what we've done today is compiled a bunch of our top tips into this video so that you guys can get an idea of the types of things that we're going to be talking about. The first thing I want to do is to thank you guys. So recently we reached out to many of you and asked, what is your biggest challenge when doing creative projects with your kids during the summer? I was actually really taken aback by your number one answer. I thought for sure you guys were going to say the mess, but that was not what you said. You told us that your biggest concern is dealing with age groups. So I want to talk about that. I am a mother of 3. I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And we do creative projects once a week. And so I'm really familiar with the challenge that happens when you're dealing with different age groups and their skill sets and their interest level. And so here is one tip that we have to maybe it's not so much a tip, it's a way of thinking about different age groups. So many of you are concerned that your 4-year-old and your 6-year-old and your 8-year-old maybe can't be doing the same project. But I want to turn that on its head. I actually have noticed, I ran a backyard camp in my home last summer, and I've also spoken with Amber, one of our teammates, and she had the same feedback. She's run a multi-age camp for years in Austin, Texas. And here's the thing. You could think of the age thing as being a challenge, and it is, but you can also turn that challenge on its head. So one of the things I like to do, and Amber likes to do, is to ask older kids to sort of mentor younger kids. So they can be helping younger kids with a project. I saw this last year. I did ice sculptures. Now it's an open-ended project, so there's no right or wrong way to deal with it. It's more of an experiment and an ice experiment. But what I saw was that we had 10-year-olds and 4-year-olds working on this together and getting joy out of it, and the 10-year-old making comments to the 4-year-old and vice versa about what they could do with the project.
Hi, I'm Ann. I'm one of your camp counselors this summer for Camp STEAM, and I wanted to do a quick little introduction. I'm an ex-engineer, current stay-at-home mama who loves doing STEAM projects with my 6-year-old, almost first grader. I'm the writer behind Left Brain, Craft Brain, and am so excited to be having Camp STEAM with you this summer. So first thing I wanted to do today is talk about some ways that can make creating with kids go much more smoothly. We have a lot of questions that people ask us. Things like, how do I deal with the mess? Because yes, creative projects, they can be messy. But I have one rule of thumb. If you contain the mess, you don't have to clean up as much. And so one of my first tips is to use trays. I love trays. I'm a bit of a tray hoarder. But the reason I love them so much is because you can use them to set up your projects ahead of time, to protect your nice wooden table. It's one of my favorite tricks. Or to just keep your supplies totally contained.
Here's a tip for keeping your kids interested in projects. Now, I have found that when my kids find a frustration point in a project, especially creative projects, they sometimes want to quit. Now, in STEAM projects, mistakes are everything. We want mistakes. We want kids to learn from mistakes and to be able to overcome those mistakes and to challenge themselves to do so. But I understand that a lot of kids are not used to sort of failing. So their first inclination when a project isn't going their way is to say, I quit, I'm done, I want to do something else. So here's what I do in that instance. Of course, as a parent, sometimes you want to say, what are you talking about? I just spent, 10, 15 minutes prepping this and now you don't want to do it. Breathe. Breathe for a second and instead say to your child, okay, I understand that you've faced, that this is a little bit of a challenging point in the project. See if you can give it 5 or 6 more minutes. Just try it for a few more minutes and let's see what happens. So what happens with this is that kids often just need a little bit of time. And when they're kind of encouraged to keep going with the project and give it a little extra, they might actually start enjoying it. So we did a project recently that was a little bit of a challenge for my son. And I said this to him. And what happened was he looked at the project again and he started working around his issue and working it out. And he actually ended up really enjoying the project and staying a lot longer than I expected, simply because I asked him just to stay a little longer. And once he was able to overcome that hurdle in his own mind, he actually was able to enjoy it.
The next question we get a lot of is about screen time, because sometimes it can be hard to get kids engaged in projects when all they really want to do is watch a little TV or hang out on their tablet. I get it. My 6-year-old wants to be a YouTube star, but that's not the point today. But anyway, screen time can be hard. But the cool thing is, STEAM projects are really interesting. In general, I don't hear complaints about screen time when we're shooting off rockets or making things explode. So, and even the more tame STEAM projects have a sense of excitement, curiosity, and wonder that keeps kids engaged. But let's say you do have a kid that really misses their characters. We love to incorporate STEAM into their character play. So my daughter loves trolls, and so she'd love to be playing with her trolls. But I'd love for her to be doing a project too. Just something that she can, learn from, grow from, expand from. So take your troll, take your cardboard, take your tape, and suddenly your child can become a troll architect and can build a new troll house, design it, build it, test it, see what can make it knock down. Maybe, and it doesn't have to be trolls, it's whatever characters that your kids are really into. Incorporate those into loose parts play, building activities. You know what else? Trolls make really fun stampers in paint. So, and they wash clean. But incorporate them into your creative projects so kids aren't missing their character play as much.
All right, guys, we hope that you found those tips helpful to you. We really want you to be successful this summer with Camp STEAM. And I hope that these tips gave you a little insight into things that you can do to have a very successful backyard camp with your kids and their friends and the neighbors.